Yay Media Group. I got a ticket in the mail. Big Sexy, I think it was you. You listen.
Oh, he gets called out on the podcast a lot.
Hey guys, episode 87. I'm so happy my kids are back in school today.
Every time you say what episode it is, I think of a football player and their number.
Oh, really?
Like every single one. I just don't say it out loud.
So who's number 87?
This guy, Tom Waddle, he used to play for the Bears. That's what, I don't know, it just popped in my head.
Oh.
Shout out to Tom.
Do you
Waddle.
only think of Bears players or you think of multiple?
Give me a number.
58.
58, I'm thinking of, I think it's Wilbur Marshall on the Super Bowl Bears team. Number 50, I think it was Wilbur Marshall. He wore a big neck roll. He was a mean dude. I think that was who it was. So that's what pops in my head for 58. I might be wrong, though.
35.
I guess I do think of Bears players.
Okay.
Well, here, now I got two. Neil Anderson was an old Bears player.
On
but
35?
then I think Natron Means Business.
Who?
Oh, no, I'm thinking of... He was a running back for San Diego. I don't know if he was 5, but Christian Okoye was number 35. Man, I'm going back in time. These aren't like modern day players.
Any of these people are. Lawson's going to be the same way. He's got, the other day he was in his room, he got for his birthday these small little helmets for all the players.
Oh, yeah.
And he got like little action figures that have, not action figures, players.
They're just mini players wearing.
And he was lining them up perfectly in his room and the cards and everything. He's obsessed with Miami Dolphins. We've never lived there, never vacationed there.
I think he likes
there,
the colors, like I
anything.
said. Yeah, I think he likes the colors.
Oh, yeah. Last night it was, I was trying to get Leighton to sleep and he was like, can I look at some Christmas stuff? I go, sure. And Lawson came in and he's like, can I look at some stuff? And I was like, just screen grab it on my phone just to give me ideas because your mom always will call and ask for ideas just so I have it and I can send it. And yeah, he was going to town. I was like, okay, I think that's enough Dolphin stuff. You should see my camera roll. It's like this much Dolphins.
That's all right. Well, at least he's got ideas of what he wants.
But I was happy. He was excited about going back to school today. And I was very excited that they were going. They were driving me nuts.
Yeah. They had Lawson had a vacation. Not vacation. He was sick Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then they had snow days on Thursday, Friday. And then he felt better this weekend. So we got out, enjoyed the snow, went sledding, built a snowman, did all that fun stuff.
Well, you know, when they're sick, you're like, oh, and so you're like, yes, whatever you need. And you're going up and down the steps a million times for them. And then after he's feeling better, he's like, oh, can you grab this water for me? I go, Lawson, it's reaching distance to you. You're not sick anymore.
It's spoiled.
You can grab it. He's like, but I can't lean up. I go, yeah, you're 8 years old. You can grab that water.
Yeah.
And then, they get used to it. And Leighton, same thing. Oh, my legs hurt today, Mom. I need to bring ice pack with me to school. I go, Leighton, no, nothing is wrong with your leg because whatever he did yesterday with the ball, I think he
stubbed his toe or hit something on the furniture because they were running around playing soccer. And he hit the top of his foot. But it's still interesting to me because even when they're born, like not when they're born, but as they get older, you see how far they could push that line, you know? And then sometimes I'm like, did we move that line too far away that they think they could just ask for water when it's right in front of them? Yeah. Like they keep pushing that line. And the older they get, I guess that never stops.
Because they know I do it and then I try not to. And then Lawson's like, geez, what's wrong with you today? Why do you have an attitude? Or like something's wrong. Lawson lately, he's 8 years old. He's like, he asks me a lot of questions lately. It's really cute.
He's curious.
Like I got a ticket in the mail. Big Sexy, I think it was you. You listen.
Oh, he gets called out on the podcast a lot.
So, it was for a toll, but my dad doesn't understand the tolls here.
Yeah.
So I got it in the mail, and Jeff and I was looking at the date and time. I'm like, where would I have been going this way at this time? I'm like, it's either you or me, though. And then my dad was in town, and I was like, it has to be my dad.
So in Colorado, it's a little different. I don't know if it's like that everywhere else. So you have to go on certain highways. You need a pass for your car.
Yes.
But that just gets you through the tolls. There's also like a iPass lane
Yes.
that you could drive in, but then you have to pay extra for that as well. And the traffic on 470 is usually you're flying. There's no traffic. So you don't necessarily, we don't have that pass.
We don't need it. But
So-
like to go to the airport, we take it.
Right. We take it to the airport, which is crazy. You know, it's $15 each way to go to the airport. So it's $30 just to ride that toll road in Colorado.
That's why no one's on that road.
Well,
ever.
that's ridiculous that it's $30. You can almost get there with an
ridiculous.
Uber like that, with that price. But anyways, I think Big Sexy, sorry to shout you out, that's Jordan's dad. The picture was someone driving in that iPass lane that you're not supposed to go in unless you have that pass. So he probably didn't know didn't have that
because
one.
we do have the toll
Right.
thing on the
They're
sticker.
two different ones.
And I have done it before too when we first moved in the area we live in, and I didn't understand it, and we got one in the mail and I was like, wait, what? And then you're like, just don't go in this lane.
Yeah.
Or you
$75. That's a little harsh.
And then if you don't pay it by the 24th, it's $150.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I remember
For
in
a
Chicago, like living in Chicago, when you're around there, like once you get outside Chicago, there's not really tolls, but like just living in and around the Chicagoland area, tolls were 40 cents. I remember going through like as a kid, my
What if
parents would
you
let me
didn't have
throw it in the
money
basket.
on you?
So there was like baskets that you go and just throw the change in. And then there was tellers. So if you didn't have money, you'd have to go to one of the tellers.
And use the debit card or like a credit card?
Yeah. And this was before they even had like iPass lanes. This was before the iPass. You'd have to pay with change in your car.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm going back in time. Where's my mind? Am I living in the 80s again with my football references and my toll road?
I think what
references?
happened.
I don't know. Slip back in time a little bit. The good old days. The good old days.
No, I still get confused in Chicago if I rent a car and those tolls, like if I'm going to drive to my grandparents, I'm like, just get me out of Chicago. And once I'm out of Chicago, it's nothing. It's just
Right.
flat. But to me, it's very confusing because I feel like you guys have it's like a toll. Then you go a mile, a toll. It's just toll all down that what's that interstate? That
90, I think it is.
maybe
Yeah, 90
that main interstate.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chicago's very confusing to me.
Yeah. So once you get into the city, there's not toll roads because it backed that thing up so much. But right when you get outside the city, like where I grew up, the tolls start happening. And then there's a bunch right in a row.
Yeah.
And then
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. They make so much money. $30 to drive on that road to go to the airport. That's insane.
Where did the tolls go to? The roads?
Yeah, the roads.
Fix the roads?
Yeah.
Why do they need that much?
Who knows, love? Who knows? Everything's getting crazy, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. The election happened. I'm sure some people are happy. Some people aren't, but hopefully things change a little bit as far as the economy goes. I understand
I was
people
just
have
about to say
different
that.
reasons for voting, but things in the economy are a little out of control, including groceries and toll roads and inflation. So hopefully some of that stuff changes. Nobody knows, but I understand people are very sensitive when it comes to the election. So we'll get off that.
Getting off the election, we're going to take a little break.
Okay, so let's take a little break, and we come back. We'll do some Dear Crabbies, because people are writing in. Thank you guys for writing in. We're getting overwhelmed with how many people are writing in with their questions. I hope we're helping you out. Again, go to togethermesspod@gmail.com if you want your question read on the air, which we're going to do when we come back.
Yes. When most of us think about fasting, we think about being hungry and exhausted. Well, I do.
Yeah.
That's what I think about. But it's really good for you.
Yeah.
And then when I found out about Prolon and how you can be more energized and feel good while you're doing your 5-day fast, I was like, I'm on board.
Yeah. And I think everyone knows how important health was to both of us this past year.
Yes.
And we're just going to ramp it up for 2025. And I think fasting is a new science that is taking off. And I think people are finally catching on.
My dad is the one that actually introduced me to fasting.
But like I said, Prolon isn't a diet. Prolon is a science. It's a science based on Nobel Prize winning discoveries in medicine. And it all starts with Prolon's 5-day program. You get snacks, soups, and beverages, all designed to keep your body in that fasting state. And that's exactly what you want. I lost a lot of weight in 2024.
30 pounds.
25 to 30 pounds. And some of that was to do with fasting.
And when you're ordering, you can choose what flavors you want. I like that they don't just send it to you and you just have to do what they send. You get to pick what snacks you want, what soup flavors you want, all that.
Yeah. And it's no wonder why thousands of doctors are now recommending Prolon to support healthy blood sugar and cardiovascular health. So right now, Prolon is offering TogetherMess listeners 15% off their 5-day nutrition program. Go to prolonlife.com/togetherness. That's MESS. That's PROLON life.com/togetherness for this very special offer. That's prolonlife.com/togetherness.
So Christian Cavallari and Justin Anderson was on there, and it was the funniest episode. They were getting dirty, and I was at the pool by myself, and my neighbor saw me, and she was like, "What were you laughing at?" And I was just laughing to myself. Well, it looked like I was laughing to myself, but I have my pods in my ear. But yeah. Love doing that. Okay. Also, I feel like I'm talking to my friends. I'm so jealous of your fun neighborhood. Our neighborhood is starting to turn over. Any ideas on how to meet our neighbors? Our houses are kind of spread apart. We are inviting some over for a bonfire next week. Thank you. So I think what really helped us bond with our next door neighbors here, Zach and Julie weren't moved in yet, was COVID.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of kept their distance, but everybody was home all the time. So we would just get lawn chairs and just sit far apart from each other and then just talk and kind of learn about each other. And that's what we did. I don't know. I feel like you just find like a couple of people that the drinks always help when you have some beers and everybody loosens up. But, I think, when we first met Mark, I was like, oh gosh, I don't want to go out and say hi. It's so awkward when you first meet somebody. And you and Mark were the first ones to say hi to each other and kind of formed a bond. And me and his wife, Jacqueline, are more similar. We're more standoffish.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I think COVID definitely helped us bond. But also, too, I think when you get older and just packing up the kids and stuff, it becomes like a hassle. And if you have cool neighbors, which we got blessed with, it's not like you have to get in a car, drive to a neighborhood, drive outside. It's like everything's right there. And I love just having my house. So if we usually just hang out in the driveway or at our house or the neighbor's house, it's just so much easier if I'm like, I got to run back, or Lawson's not feeling great, he's just going to head back to the house. It makes things so much easier. And I understand a lot of people aren't blessed with cool neighbors or they don't get along like we do in our neighborhood. So community is really important to me. That's really at the top of my list. Even when I pray, I'm like, thank you for my family and my community. You know, we got blessed, because it could be a real headache not to
or lonely, because we don't have family here. So I feel like because we don't have family here, you have to kind of get out and talk to people and meet people, because if we didn't have these neighbors to interact with and we have no family here, it'd just be us all the time.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think just going back to my answer that I said before, and I know you were making fun of me, the pool, I feel like is where everybody opens up. Everybody's having fun. Everybody's having drinks. And that is, I feel like, where I meet everybody. My friend Lisa, who's one of my closest friends here, I met her. My kids were stealing her kids' toys at the pool. And I was like, oh my gosh, this lady's going to hate me. And remember, my mom was here visiting us, and then we didn't talk for a really long time, and I never saw her. And then one day she messaged me about a question, and then we just I started seeing her more. And then her husband's cool, and you liked her husband, and our kids are the same ages and started getting along. And then I met her best friend, and they're cool. I just feel like when you run with cool people, they're cool and their friends are cool. And then everybody just kind of hangs out.
Well, you have to have some similarities. But Katie, to give you an answer, I think having that bonfire with your neighbors, even though they're kind of spread apart, like you said, I think that'll bring you guys closer, because it gives you time to sit around and just talk about a little, feelings that are a little bit deeper than just surface feelings that most people argue about these days.
Yeah. Music helps. Music and deep combos.
Put together a nice playlist. Big Jeff's got a good playlist if you need
I don't
one.
know how old you are, but that's how it's like, we listened to this in high school. And then everybody kind of talks about, it just brings up all these old memories and everybody shares stories and games too.
And I think here's another one. Don't be so judgmental when somebody's opening up.
Yeah.
You know, I think trying to just relate to that person, because I love meeting people from, again, all walks of life, all over the world. I think culture is so important. And I love learning how people grew up. There might be some things that you disagree with or you don't. But you got to get past that and get to the core of who that person is, not maybe their past mistakes or something that they believe today, but might not be tomorrow. Just be a little bit more open. Mm-hmm. You know, that's all. That's what I would say. All right. You want to take another one?
You want to read it?
Okay. I had it, but then I got blabbering and it went off. Okay, this one's for Lauren, from Lauren. Hi, Jeff and Jordan. I love the podcast, and watching you both laugh and banter together puts a smile on my face. I need some help. Here it is. With the holidays almost here, I need to know if I'm the a-hole for wanting to skip Thanksgiving. My sister-in-law is having it at her house, and we have never gotten along. A long history of feeling disrespected as a person and as a mom. I don't feel like going to be put down all night. The rest of my family is going and have expressed their disapproval of me, leaning towards skipping and having a small dinner for just me, my husband and daughter. Thoughts? Am I being too selfish? Thank you and happy holidays. This one, I think, Lauren, hits home for everybody.
Everyone.
You know, I think there's always some sort of family drama on every level, even if you think there's the perfect family. There's always some drama on that level. If I'm giving advice that my mom gave me, it would be, you got to show up and show your face. You know, that's how I grew up with my family. You know, you got to show up, that's what the holidays are for, I believe, is let your differences lie in the past. Again, it's get back to that, be a little bit more open with other people's feelings, and they should be open with yours. It's not fair that you're being disrespected, but there's something to be said about being the bigger person in my eyes. Go there, put a smile on your face. Even if you know you're going to get disrespected, it takes a big person to do that and not stir up drama. So think about the rest of your family. Think about the end of your life. That's what I would do, is think about the end of your life. And do those differences really outweigh the bad, that you're not going to have guilt at the end of your life and say, you know what, I should have just put on a happy face for my kids and their kids who have nothing to do with it, and maybe went and saw my family instead of skipping out. Because once you start leaning that way, it's hard to get back into it. That's kind of my point of view. I know you don't agree probably.
No, what you said is good. I think just for me, it's probably being in awkward situations with somebody that you don't care for, that it's like the worst situation ever. But for me, like, just giving an example, because like if we were at Thanksgiving with his family, I would just do it, put on a face for the sake of your parents, just to be respectful. And it's only one day that you have to see that person, and then wait till Christmas. And then you have to see the person probably at Christmas. But mine is always just more respect for the older people. I would do it for my mom or dad or his parents and just put on a good face. Doesn't mean you have to sit there and talk to them the whole time. Do your own thing. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get the disrespected part. I totally do.
That's the worst, is when you feel disrespected. What's wrong with us today? We can't talk. Disrespected. And it's just an uncomfortable situation. But at Thanksgiving, sometimes a lot of people have on movies or football's playing or the parade. Maybe like you can just go off with the kids a little bit.
Yeah. And another big one is some people just don't know how to get along. They're socially awkward in situations. And the only way they get along with people is misery loves company, you know, and they can't communicate in a positive form. They always have to have their fingers pointed out about something someone else did. But that just means they're not happy with themselves. Ultimately. But
if you don't go, then that gives the sister-in-law something to talk about. And then it just creates more drama. So if you do go, just put a smile on your face.
And I don't know if you drink alcohol, but
If you do,
pour yourself a glass of wine.
Just have a glass of wine and just relax, but don't have too much where you start fighting.
But Lauren, I think your question is relevant to everybody out there with the holidays right around the corner. And I know, listen, everybody knows what you mean when you say that, because not every family gets along, like I said, but I think it takes a big person to put on that face, go face the music, so to speak, even though you're not in trouble, but just for the sake of your family, I would give it.
It doesn't get any more dysfunctional than my family, so my family's probably the most.
Oh, I would agree. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I have a very
I'm kidding. I love your family.
But yeah, have a good Thanksgiving though. Eat good.
All right, let's take a break. We have more of these, so we'll come back. All right, welcome back. Let's get to this next one. We're rolling through these today. Again, thank you guys so much for writing in. If you want your question read on the air, go to TogetherMessPod@gmail.com. Drop us a question, and hopefully we'll read it on the air. We love these because sometimes, we don't always talk about the weather and our kids and my job, which I still don't know anything about. It sounds like we're being redundant.
Lawson said today, he goes, Mom, does Dad have a job? I go, no. This was in the car today. I go, no. And he goes, why? I go, I don't know. He's working on it. And he goes, but why is it taking so long? I go, these things just take time, babe. I'll go, don't worry about it. Just be a kid. And, or the other day when I got that ticket in the mail, I was reading it. And I think because my face, I was frowning. And he's like, what's wrong? Are you okay? Is something wrong? I think he is starting to understand things. So I have to not react to things, which I don't react, but he can just see it on my face.
Yeah. He's getting very
wise,
intuitive.
He was asking me, Mom, was there somebody before Dad? I was like, yeah. And then I go, and your dad had somebody before I met him. And then he goes, did you kiss them? I go, yeah. And then he goes, and then you met Dad? I go, yeah. So it was just short answers. He goes, but then what happened? I go, I don't know. And then I just started dating your dad. And it was only your dad. And then he goes, and then you just wanted to get married? And I go, I was like, yeah. And then you came and, and then it's just funny. And then I get embarrassed sometimes about some of the questions he asks, or he's so curious to know, towards the end, he's like, and then when you got married, so you and Dad kissed? I go, yeah.
I think you got to drop the old school line of you'll understand when you're older, buddy.
Everything. I'm like, yeah. Uh-huh. But he's so curious. I'm like, what is he watching?
I think being honest with them is the way to go, even if you're a little embarrassed. But I think honesty is the way to go.
What did he ask in the car? He's like, Mom, how are babies made? Wasn't it something and you and I both just kind of looked at each other?
We started laughing.
And he goes, so you just told God you wanted a baby?
Oh, that's right.
I go, that's right. And he put you in my belly.
That one he's a little young for. But I feel like that conversation's going to happen sooner than later.
Oh, yeah.
But 8 years old is a little bit too young to be honest in that department.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right. So let's get this question in. Anne wants to know, she says, hi, being a fan of reality TV and yours, if you were to go on one of these new reality TV shows now in 2024, as if you were the age you were on Big Brother, which would you choose? Oh, so we'd be 30 and 22.
What would I choose?
Yeah. Would Jordan 15 years ago apply for Love is Blind or something like Squid Games, etc.?
Oh, I would have never back then. Well, because I was, y'all all know, because you listen, I've already shared the story. I was scouted, so I didn't even think about reality TV. I would have never done a reality dating show. But my mom, was late 30s, I think, when Survivor, late 30s, early 40s when Survivor came out. Because I was in middle school when Survivor. So my mom had to be late 30s, early 40s. She always said she would do Survivor way back then. And I was like, my mom, I always said would win. I was like, she would have won if she was on Survivor. I would have probably...
She's asking, what would you do now if you were still 22?
I would probably do Survivor, something like that.
You do Survivor with all the shows that are on right now?
I'm trying to think. there's traders, but that's just like easy because you don't really have to do anything.
That's more your speed.
That's more my speed. You don't have to do anything. Not anything like Big Brother. Maybe Survivor, because I like that they go to the beach and it's like, it looks like all nice. I just sit out on the beach all day. I wouldn't even like scheme or make alliances. I would just go in the ocean all day.
I'm trying to think what
out.
I'd go on now.
There's Deal or No Deal Island. I'd never even watched it.
I haven't watched that either.
I don't even watch anything anymore.
Yeah. I would go, we just mentioned that maybe it's in my head before we started the podcast, but Below Deck, if I was young and single, not to be on that show, but that's something I would really do. And then being on the show would be a bonus.
Wish I would have known about that when I was in my 20s. I would have totally, not a reality show, I would have totally signed up to work on a boat.
That's what I'm saying. I would do that anyway because I love traveling and it's a great way to travel. You work. It seems like so much fun because they're all young kids and just working on a boat seems cool. That's something I would do. And then if you had a reality show on top of it, that would be something I'd be interested in when I was younger. Yeah. I feel bad for people doing reality shows now. I know some people like the attention, but people are just so mean. Yeah, but you got to put that, like I said, you got to do what you want to do. Like, if people rip you apart, and then you got to get, like, if you're seeing that all the time, people just commenting about your body, how you're parenting, how you look, all this stuff, like that gets old. Yeah, if you're on those type of reality shows. But I mean, I guess it's what you sign up for. And if you are making good money, and you're making a living out of it, I can see why you continue to do it. You know what show I love? Not that I would do it. I don't have the skills, but Alone. I love that show, but I don't have the skills to do that. That sounds miserable. It does sound miserable, but it's super challenging. Like just you alone, no one to blame but yourself, your willpower, your strength, your skills as a hunter. Like all that stuff is really cool to me because I can't do it either. So I'm kind of envious of a lot of those people on the show. I would last like 3 days. You wouldn't even last a day. I would tap out. Now, listen, the people that build those, their house while they're on Alone, where they're sleeping, there was one Alone you and I watched. Wasn't her name Cassie? Callie. Callie. Yeah. She built like a hot tub, right? I'm like, and she just was like, I feel like it's just my time to go, and just left. And she wasn't even struggling. I was like, what are you doing? She said it was her time to just tap out. But I think that's cool, those people who do that and have the skills and then are like, listen, my journey is just over here. They're so in touch with themselves in a way that maybe that's what I'm envious of. But to go there and just be stuck with your own thoughts, I think you really grow as a person. Because nowadays, if you're feeling bad or blue or something, you just go and bash somebody on the internet. Like you said, in some strange way, that makes them feel better because they're putting other people down. It's almost like the internet is like a high school bully these days, and it's the same people that got bullied that are bullying other people online. So in some sense, they feel better because misery loves company, like we were saying earlier. But if you don't have social media and you're out in the woods on like day 40 and it's just you and your thoughts, you find out what's important to you and how long you're willing to continue to do that. Do I want to? A lot of them complain about their family. You're not complain, but they say, I miss my family. I miss my family so much. And I thought I wanted this, but I know now I want my family more. It could have, I don't know. I think it fixes like some internal differences you have with yourself. Because to sit with yourself alone for that long and just face your own problems, you really get down to the core of who you are just by sitting in silence. And I think that's a cool thing. That's a cool thing. I'm surprised you didn't say you would do Naked and Afraid. You love that show. I do, but I don't like the nakedness aspect of it. Which is the whole point. What if you just get a little thing and just put it around? No, it's not that. Bugs love me. Like, I'm not joking. Bugs, I think it's your blood type. Because if I go outside in the summer, nobody will get bit and I'll get crushed by mosquitoes. So I'm not interested in being butt naked in the jungle and then it getting down to 40 degrees at night and you're naked with another person. That's not really survival. I guess it is. I'm not knocking anybody on that show. I couldn't do that. But I think the dynamic of Alone, like just looking inward is different. But I wish I had the stones to get on Naked and Afraid. That would, I guess, That's tough, man. You got to be tough.
Don't you think the first thing they look at? I would be the first thing I look at is.
You just got to get it out of the way, I think, because I watched the beginning, and they don't even have a bag in the beginning.
Like
I know,
the cover,
that's what I'm saying. If you guys never watched the show, they usually give you like a little hemp bag or whatever.
If it was our first time meeting in, let's say, Big Brother house, my eyes wouldn't be here. My eyes would be down here.
Yeah, but I think it's okay in that aspect because you're like, just soak it in. We're going to be together for 30 days, so go for it.
Or like if I was walking in front of you, I'd be like, just don't look at my butt.
But you know they're looking at your butt, right? Of course you are.
It's so weird.
That's what I mean.
I just don't know how people can do that.
Yeah, good for them.
And then you got a camera guy and a sound guy there. It's not like you're not by yourselves. You got production there too that are seeing your body.
Yeah, well, they're used to it. Real quick before we go, do you remember way back in the day? This is when people pitch shows and, that's when Hollywood was Hollywood. But someone legitimately came to me and Jordan through my agent and asked if we do the show Cooking Naked. Do you remember that? They're pitching that show Cooking Naked. And it's when we were living in LA and I was just working with CBS, on and off. And I was like, what do you think? I was actually thinking about doing the show. They never came out with it. I don't know what happened to it, but they asked if we wanted to do a pilot for Cooking Naked.
That sounds so unsanitary.
I know. Remember how we were making jokes
how can you eat food and be naked?
A little hot grease and some private parts? That doesn't mix.
Ugh, gross.
But that was legit. You don't remember that?
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, maybe I told you about it. Maybe after the fact. Because I was like,
My answer would have been no right away.
I know, but at the time, I think Naked and Afraid maybe just came out and it was like a play on that.
And it was like, that was like the thing.
Or maybe someone was trying to punk us and it was like, we would have went in for the audition and he just would have laughed at us. I forgot. I remember though, that was, my agent pitched it to me. So that's how real it was.
Wow.
Yeah. I love the old concepts of like pitching shows and, I love that whole grind of putting a deck together and figuring out what it's like. Those days, I feel like people still do that, but it's like so hard.
It's impossible.
It's so hard.
It's
Nobody has money now. Yeah. It's not even a lottery. It's just the first answer is no. Hey, I'm pitching this show. We don't have any money. How are you going to get it sponsored? That's
I like it, but that's why if anybody says like, I have a show, I'm like, do you really have a show? Where's your contract? Like back in the LA days, that's what I'm speaking of. When somebody's like, oh, I have this show. And it's like, do you really have a show? Or are you just saying you have a show and you just shot a pilot? Remember like people.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like how people are like, I'm a model. And you're like, really? Are you a model? And what do you model? And
everybody's a model in LA. I never understood that. You're just doesn't mean you have to look like Cindy Crawford. Right. But there's a ton of different modeling, lifestyle modeling, all sorts of stuff. So when people are like, yeah, I'm a model. I'm like, well, so am I. I've taken pictures for money, but I'm not a model. Do you know what I'm saying?
Have I ever shared this?
Or I should say I used to.
I was at a friend's birthday party. This was right after Big Brother. I think it was his birthday party. And still to this day, I don't know if I shared this story on here or not. I have so many that I don't know if I share or not. And this guy, we're sitting there talking and all of a sudden out of nowhere, he was like, you might be pretty for North Carolina, but you're not pretty for California, like for LA. You're not pretty for LA. And I remember looking at him being like, listen, I was just talking to you about something random. You just threw that in there. And then thank God I secure with who I was then, because I was like, okay, why'd you just say that? And I just brushed it off. But let's say I was somebody that was trying to be an actress, trying to be a model. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to be. I don't look like a model. I'm just saying, what if I left my town and was like, I have big dreams. I want to be a model or something. And somebody told me that. And that would have crushed my dreams if that's what I was trying to be, but I was not. And I never questioned my weight or anything because back home, people ate and ate good. It wasn't, oh, I'm gluten, I'm vegan, like all of that. And when I moved to LA, I was just like, whoa, what is going on here? Like with the food and everything. And when I was at home, like guys liked you to have meat on you. And then, I mean, it's a totally different now out there, I think. But I always thought thick was cute. And then now it's like, oh, it's bad, or somebody instantly is like, you're fat, or you're this. Like on Big Brother 11, I was 128 pounds when I walked into the house. When I left Big Brother 11, the 72 days, I had put on weight. I was like 142. And so many people, like that's all it was fat. And I'm like, I remember thinking, I'm not even fat. I'm average. Like, what are people talking about? People now can call me fat. But back then, it's like, what if thank God I had somebody like my mom, somebody like you that didn't make me feel bad about myself. Or just like I had good friends and good people I surrounded with that it never really bothered me. But what if I was alone or didn't have like a support system and that's all I sat and read when I got off the show? You know, that really would affect you. Even now, I feel like from the shows and then social media, just people like somebody's like, I just finished watching Big Brother 11 and then went to my Instagram now and was like, I didn't even recognize you because of all the plastic surgery you've had. I'm like, I wish I had plastic surgery, lady. You know what I mean? And it's like, you're comparing me. I'm about to be 38 to a 22-year-old kid. And people I don't know why it's hard for them to see that. And no, I haven't had plastic surgery on my face.
Like I said, to wrap this up a little bit, I get what you're saying. We could go down a whole rabbit hole, but I really, truly believe I have my bad days and good days. When people write things like that on the internet, it's their insecurities that are showing, not yours. And I understand both of us have dealt with that, with the things people write psychologically.
No, but back then with Big Brother, they were always like, it was always Jeff's the cute one, she's the fat one. That's how it always was.
But they wrote me plenty of terrible things. I'm not saying yours is more terrible or less terrible. I'm just saying the people who write those things hide their identity too, because they don't have a picture of themselves or their family. They're usually just a flower, a dog, or a bee, whatever it is in their icon. And they just write hateful things all day.
Bee.
I don't know. Some people, I always look, if it's really bad, I dive in and I'm like, who is this person? I'm going to go to their house. And it's like, yeah, like a bumblebee. Pollinate the earth with happiness. You just told me to kill myself and my family. Pollinate the earth with happiness. You're a fraud. Like that's the people on the internet. So when you see messages like that, it's people who really, truly hate themselves and they're getting I heard a noise and I was like, who's up there? Because the kids are at school. It was a fire truck. But anyways, yeah, I think that's really what it was, or that's what it is. But it doesn't stop you from feeling bad about yourself. But you really have to take a step back and say, this person really doesn't like who they are. They're watching Big Brother from 20 years ago and commenting on how I look and I need plastic surgery. That person needs a therapist.
No, but that's why when people now will say, would you think about doing reality shows? And now I'm like, I'm so content with being a mom and doing like podcasting stuff like this, going on a reality show to get judged, my 38-year-old self being judged in a new way where people are even more mean and there's more social platforms. Why would you do that to yourself? And then if you're on it with a cast and you don't vibe with that cast, and then you look like a bitch and people are like, oh, well, she's just rude and stuck up. It's like people don't know you. And that's ending on this note. That's why I love doing this podcast, because people get to see who the real you is.
Yeah. No, you said it great. But don't let other people's messages or comments or opinions of you stop you from what you want to do. Not just you, people at home. If I said, well, I might not take this job because of the way people think, or you don't want to do a reality show if you got offered that because you don't want the judgment from people. If it makes you happy, do it. Don't worry about what other people. But it would make
me happy because I don't care about that stuff.
For you and the audience, I'm saying, don't let other people's opinions or judgment of you persuade you to fall into what they think you are. Be your own person, rise above, because guess what? Whether you do that show or not, they're still going to be there hating. So it doesn't matter what you do. Make yourself happy first. All right. That's where we'll end.
Okay. On that note, hope you love this episode. It was just kind of all over the place, wasn't it?
Like, subscribe, hit that subscribe button and
download.
That's
Tag
what I
your
meant.
friends, and we'll see you next week. Bye.